Good morning, Kitchen Witches. Today is Tuesday, July 21st, and this is your tarot and menu inspiration for the day. I'm Chef Lisa, editor and chief of A Chef's Grimoire magazine, and we're going to pull a card, and that's going to be everything we need to know for the day. Right, give the deck a good shuffle. Let's see what we've got. One more casino shuffle. Why not? All right. Ready? I know, something's going on this week. We got the High Priestess. So, what's funny is I'm just thinking back the last couple days, right? We had the Seven of Wands, and we talked about the Chariot. And then the next day we got the Chariot. And then yesterday we got the Two of Swords, and we talked about the High Priestess. And today we get the High Priestess. Something's going on here. All right, our beautiful High Priestess. I love this card. A major arcana. It is the second archetype the Fool meets on their journey. They first take their step off the precipice or cliff, and they fall into the realm of the Magician. The Magician says, look, you're on a journey, but no, you have everything you need to get yourself through it. So whenever you need anything, tap into yourself, because that's where everything starts and everything ends and everything in between. So that's what the Magician teaches the Fool. But then they leave the Magician realm and they go into the beautiful darkness of the High Priestess, who is very much in touch with the higher realms. I mean, she lives tangibly, but she is extremely tapped in to her higher self, the universe, the what's beyond the veil. She can basically go from one to the other. She's the conduit. And it's kind of pictured that way because we have a pillar here that's black that has a B on it. And then we have a pillar here that's white that has a J on it. And this is Boaz and I'm going to say this word wrong, Jacqueline. Boaz and Jacqueline. And they were the pillars that were in front of Solomon's tomb way back centuries and centuries and centuries ago. And sphinxes guarded that tomb. And what they represented was anybody who crossed past there basically crossed into another realm, right? Very, very few crossed that threshold. But those that did went into a different realm. And notice that our High Priestess is sitting between them. So she is the conduit for black, which is tangible, and white, which is the higher realm. So as above, so below, right? Behind the High Priestess is a drape that has pomegranates on it. And pomegranates are important because they're a sacred food, and the story of Persephone and Demeter, and how Persephone eats, I think it's 7 or 3 pomegranate seeds in Hades, and that's what gives her her knowing of how to escape, to go back to her mother, which when she's down in with Hades, it's winter, fall, to winter. And then she goes back with her mother and it's spring and summer. So the 3 pomegranate seeds started that whole journey, right? It's how she stayed alive down there and how she prospered and then was able to come back. So pomegranate's very sacred fruit and very representative of the High Priestess. Some say that there are, I think, 613 seeds in a pomegranate. And there's also 613 rules in the Torah, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But something like that, where they correspond in that way. Speaking of Torah, the High Priestess is seated. We talked about any archetype or any individual in the tarot that's seated is comfortable with themselves and where they rule in life, right? It's not submissive, it's more being comfortable with yourself and your surroundings. So the High Priestess is no different now. It's a stone bench that she's sitting on. The crescent moon is at her feet. And she is holding what looks like a scroll in her hand. And it says Torah, but her blue veil is covering what would be a T. So Taro, T-O-R-A, and what if there was a T at the end? So it says tarot, not Torah. So that's for you to decide. On her head is a crown. She's got what is called the Isis crown. And it basically is the sun flanked by 2 crescent moons, right? And in old agricultural days, it would be the sun with 2 horns from the oxen that would pull the plow through the fields. So it's tied deep with agricultural roots. So there's so much symbolism in this card, but basically what it means is when we need guidance that is not in the physical world, ask the High Priestess for help. Meditate upon the High Priestess because she is the conduit, so she can get the answers and give them to you if you can't get them on your own, right? She's great. Ruled by the moon, and the moon is all about the subconscious. So it's both tapping into your consciousness and your subconscious. So bringing the High Priestess into today, we're going to think about that. We're going to think about, all the things that we know are around us, but maybe there's something that you just feel is not right. Maybe it's the job you're in, right? And you're doing it, it's okay, but you just feel like it's not doing it for you anymore. Maybe you should ask the High Priestess, right? What's the next step? Or, a relationship, those kinds of things. Just look around you and see what can be improved. And does it make your heart happy still? Does the place you're living in still make your heart happy? Or are you like, it's okay. It's not fabulous. It's okay for the moment. Great. But how can you do better, right? Tap into your High Priestess. Tap in to your higher self. And you'll get the answers. So for today, we're going to bring our High Priestess into the kitchen and we're going to make something deliciously yummy for breakfast. I put this recipe in the nourishing chapter of the Chef's Grimoire magazine. And because one of the archetypes that we did deep dives with and planned menus around was the High Priestess. So what I did was a pomegranate gelatin. And you could have this as a dessert, a snack, or breakfast. Easy enough to do. You take pomegranate juice, which you can find at any time of the year, right? We're not going for fresh pomegranates. They come around January, February. We're in summer in July, so pomegranate juice. You're going to add gelatin powder to it and then let it set up overnight. Pour it in, heat it on a stove with gelatin. Pour it into a beautiful vessel, preferably something that you can see through, so glass. And then chill it overnight. And in the morning, all you have to do is whip up some cream, if you wish. You don't have to. Whip up some cream and then put that on top of the gelatin. And breakfast, right? You got your pomegranate from the High Priestess. She would love it. It's cool, it's refreshing, and yeah, it's kind of nutritious. Moving on to lunch. With all the water energy of our High Priestess, the moon pulling the tides in, pushing them out, being part of the collective's unconscious and how we make decisions, the moon has effects on that. And the moon is very strong in this card. So I'm bringing in seafood, and we're going to do tuna salad, right? Easy enough. It's Tuesday. So we're going to make us some tuna salad, and you can make it in the morning, put it in a little to-go container, add some crackers, and while you're out and about, it's lunch, right? Easy peasy, and you don't have to think too much about it. And delicious, nutritious. Dinner. We're gonna do a grilled vegetable wrap with some lentils and add a little shredded lettuce. So it's a wrap that has, your lentils can be a little saucy, not too much because you don't want them gushing out the sides of the wrap. But you're going to add the lentils, chilled or hot, it's up to you, or warm. You can add cheese if you like, but a High Priestess probably not do dairy, I'm thinking. Maybe. So cheese, fine. The lentils, shred up some lettuce, grill up some vegetables or roast them in the oven or use last night's leftovers. And that goes in the wrap. And then you wrap it up like a burrito. Delicious. And it'll happen in 1, 2, 3, right? Lentils are the easiest legume to cook because they don't need any rinsing. They don't need any soaking. You can just cook them. It's about 20-minute cook for them to stay round and not mush out, right? If you go a little longer, they're going to get mushy. And you can cook them in vegetable broth. You can cook them in chicken broth, right? Whatever you want to do. But that is delicious. And if you want to make something like a dressing to go with it, great. But the lentils are going to be just wet enough to be where you don't need anything else, right? And you've got the lettuce in there. So it's all in one. All in one meal. And that's what the High Priestess loves. So, right? The more nutritious and quick the meals are, the more time you have to sit in the moonlight and contemplate and get your downloads. So with that, I hope, and our High Priestess hopes, that you nourish yourself and nourish all those around you with your kitchen magic. See you tomorrow.